Hello, everyone. My name is Nick. No, it's not. My name is Reggie. My
I
name is
mean,
Nick, but
technically.
my name is Nick. My name is Reggie. I am an Eagles fan,
My name is Mike. No, it's not. It's BBR, and I am a Bears fan.
and welcome back to the UHC NFL podcast. I'm going to turn my volume up because it was lower than I expected it to be. We are discussing week four, and man, has there been a lot of interesting stuff. To start out with, last time we talked about whether or not the Titans would play the Steelers, and they did not. That game has been postponed. They moved some bye weeks around. As far as I could tell, they moved it around pretty fine. Titans and Steelers get an impromptu bye week, week four, whatever. Um, yeah, the Titans players are still rolling. I don't know any of the names, but their COVID reserve list is very long. And two more players today. Today is Wednesday, so we'll go up the second I'm done recording. Um, Tough. It's tough. It's gonna be tough. I don't know what happens if you miss week two or a second week of this.
I know there's talks of them potentially having to forfeit. I
I mean,
think,
if they have to miss too many weeks, it's not like we can do it like baseball and go off of percentages. There's only 16 games.
and it's a little tough because, sure, you set the precedent already that will delay the team's bye week. So Pittsburgh got screwed out of their bye changing.
But that
Yet,
also only works one time.
well, yeah, that's the thing. You can't switch around the buys forever, and if you're gonna
And you can't push the
go
season
ahead
back
and
because divisional weekend is right after, or sorry,
well,
wild card
you
weekend is right after.
can push it back.
But here's the other thing we have to consider: is are the TV crews going to be that flexible?
With all the money the NFL generates, I'm sure they'll find a way.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's going to be interesting though. I mean, how many weeks can you make? Can you keep making changes? You know, how many
I don't
weeks?
think they play in April. I think they go. I don't know if they even touch March, to be honest. You could extend it like 3 weeks. Super
I
Bowl is
can't see
usually
them. Yeah,
first
I was
week
gonna
of
say
February.
three. I can't see them pushing back more than three. But I really meant how many games in a row are they really gonna let the Titans just miss out?
I then that's the thing. Probably two at most.
If this is still going on or in the next week, week six, where the Titans are currently slated to play the Texans, divisional game right there. Um, I mean that's gonna be something. And now we got the Patriots as well, which was not something we considered at the time. I think I don't think Cam Newton had it at the time, but Cam Newton got COVID.
No, I don't think we discussed that.
And just today, Stephon Gilmore has turned positive or tested positive for COVID with a very nice still image, perfect shot of Gilmore and Patty Mahomes face mask to face mask at the end of the Chiefs Pats game. Um, so we got a lot of question marks in the air. Pats currently slated to play the Broncos at the 4:25 slot on Sunday. Um, we're gonna see what happens.
Now, here's a very important thing to note. It's not as apparent at the time. It's not apparent that it's massively team wide right now, which is the positive thing. It doesn't seem yet like it's a Tennessee situation,
Well, yeah, for New England, it's really just now.
but
It
it
doesn't
could
help that
be.
it's their. It could be, and we could not know. But it doesn't help that they're two-star players. I mean, those are
Yes.
right now probably the the most well-known players on offense and on defense for that team. I would say.
Oh, absolutely. A positive for them, they have a hurt in Denver and then a bye week.
Yeah, okay, so they'll get some time to take it up. Now, here's the thing I'm not sure of. COVID reserve, does that work like IR is working right now, where you have 3 weeks, so we can't go back off it?
I want to say no, because the first case, it was a cornerback on Atlanta. He's already back practicing, and I don't think that has been 3 weeks.
That's right. I did see something about that today.
So I want to say as soon as they're, I want to say it's a test by test basis, not necessarily an amount of time basis.
That would make sense. That would make sense. Well, hopefully it doesn't continue to be widespread. Hopefully, Patty Mahomes doesn't wind up with COVID. Hopefully, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelsey, whoever Gilmore was covering that night. I
It
wasn't
was a lot of
watching.
Tyreek Hill.
I wasn't watching most of the game. It was dog shit. We'll talk about that.
It was a ton of Tyreek Hill.
Hopefully, some of these players don't start going. It doesn't start spreading to a bunch of teams. Hopefully. All right, so we'll start talking about the games now. I don't think there's been any major trades to discuss. So, Thursday Night Football, man, that was something. Broncos at the Jets. So let's just start by taking a look. The Jets were favored by one as a home team. Now I know it doesn't mean shit to us, but Vegas is still putting up or still averaging out to give home teams 3 point more advantage. Um, so that tells you they really weren't really sure who was gonna win because they only favored the Jets by a point. The Broncos quarterback, I'm gonna get this wrong. What's the B stand for? That's bad. Brett
uh, uh,
Ripien.
yeah.
Ripien?
I've heard a couple, but consensus seems to be ripping.
Rippin. Brett Rippin. 19 for 31, 242 yards. Oh, I love this. 2 touchdowns, 3 holy interceptions. Darnold looks okay. 23 for 42 with 230 yards. No touchdowns, but no ints. I'll take
I
that.
think he rushed one. He rushed a touchdown.
Oh, you are right. And doesn't listen to his passing game, but you are correct. He did rush for a touchdown. Good for him. Got some movement on him.
He had 84 yards on the ground.
he,
That's a lot.
yeah, that for a quarterback that's not named Lamar Jackson, I guess. That's quite a good amount. Melvin Gordon looked pretty good coming back. 23 carries for 107 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Um, the game kind of sucked. We knew it was gonna be a crapshoot. Uh, if you told me before the season started that this score was gonna be the score, I would have believed you, just because I expected the Broncos to be really good. This is the first time they've looked good, with Lockout, Sutton out, Von Miller out, Philip Lindsay out. And Jerry Judy, young rookie, got a 48-yard pass for a touchdown. He looked pretty good. So I would say overall, um, this game is. I mean, it wasn't a pretty game to watch.
No.
It
It
wasn't.
also wasn't quite as bad as I thought it would be, though.
I watched a little bit of the end. I know the Jets. God, I'm trying to remember. This feels like a fucking year ago. Um, the Jets had an interception return. Why don't they just call it a pick six in the fucking stats? That's what I'm screaming at the TV. Um, but then the Broncos were able to kind of pull it off towards the end. They got a field goal and then a touchdown run. 37-28 was the final score, and the Jets are continuing their winless streak. Broncos finally got a win, but this feels like a game that, or a team that everyone's gonna win against this year.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll go 0-16, but I don't. I put them at 2 wins max.
Yeah, they have back to back, only separated by the bye week games against the Dolphins, um, where they could squeeze one in there. Um, I don't have another one for you. That's all I got. This just isn't a very good team. I mean, it's a historically bad franchise, but this is a really bad year. And to already be looking in a top position to take Trevor Lawrence while you have Sam Darnold right there, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know if drafting a QB helps them without some other key offensive pieces.
yeah, they don't have a lot, do they? I need to look at this team real quick. Um, there's only so much they can do. Oh, that's right. I almost forgot to mention Flacco will be starting next week. For the Jets. We'll talk about that when we look at their game next week. But now you're already looking at their doubts in their quarterback. They got Frank Gore on running back. They got Jamison Crowder on receiver. Rashad Perriman as well. That's That's it, really.
Yeah,
A bunch of names I don't really recognize that could go with my lack of general knowledge, but there's not too much there. I mean, they need some more weapons. That's as simple as that. They need more weapons.
I mean, let's be honest. They have Lamar Jackson. He's the defensive cornerback, Lamar Jackson,
Oh,
but they have Lamar Jackson.
I didn't even realize that. That's like how there's a Josh Allen on the
Yep.
Jaguars. All right, well, Jets looking pretty bad. Denver Broncos looking pretty bad in their division. We'll see if if Locke ever comes back. We'll see if that makes a difference. All right, we're going to start looking at our Sunday day football games at 1 o'clock. First, talk about another crapshoot going in. Oh, this was a pretty entertaining game. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Cincinnati Bengals. Um, Bengals win at home, 33-25. Had a cough there. I did not have COVID. Uh, Burrow again looked pretty good. 25 for 36, 300 yards, touchdown, one in. Minshew looked a little better. 27 for 40, 351 yards, two touchdowns, one in. Um, Joe Mixon, wow, he looked really great. 25 carries for 151 yards and two touchdowns. I like this Bengals team. I think it's a scrappy team. They were favored by 1.5 going into the game, and it overall no team really felt like it was leading the whole time. It just kind of felt, except towards the end, it just kind of felt like a good back and forth game. Scoreless third quarter for the Jags, where the Bengals started, kind of scoring some points. But other than that, it really felt back and forth to me. Randy Bullock did not miss that much, if at all. So it makes up for that week 1. Burrow, this is a good story I heard. Burrow gets a game ball and he puts it in the ball bag and says that's a good ball. Don't want to put that to waste. So I like him already.
I did not hear about that, but that's awesome.
Yeah, he's great. I like him. So yeah, good win for Cincinnati. This was for a team that's new or got a new quarterback at least. It's a young team in that respect with some O line troubles and certainly some defensive troubles. This is certainly a game that was possible for them to win, and they did. Um, I don't have much more to say about it. What are your thoughts?
Uh, I like what Cincinnati did. They used Joe Mixon a little bit differently than they did in weeks 1 through 3. They used him a lot more in passing downs when they haven't in those first few weeks. And obviously he had a big game for it. I want to say how many receptions. He also had 6 receptions on top of his 151 rushing yards. So I mean, he was used all over the field, and it got him the win.
I mean, yeah, he had a receiving touchdown as well as the pair of rushing touchdowns. So our friend had a hat trick. He's looking pretty good for across the season. He does have fifth most rushing yards currently, 315, and third most rushing attempts with 77. So with a team with a lot of O-line troubles, it's good to see that Joe Mixon is doing very well. Certainly proving he has a name in the game here.
You'd like to see what he could do with an actual talented.
Oh, if they get some, if they had, if you put this guy on an O line like Indianapolis, for instance, you got this guy behind Quentin Nelson, that team. Um, I'm trying to think of teams with good O line at the top of my head. If this team had a good O line, I mean, he would easily be a top 5 running back in the league. He might still be. He's certainly proving he has a claim to the name. Uh, oh, this is a game I love to talk about. The Browns at the Cowboys. Oh, we're already getting to this one. Cowboys were favored by 3.5. Which going into this, I was very surprised about that they were only favored by 3.5 going into the game. They did have 25% fan capacity. The Browns, as we all know, won 49-38 in what was Odell Beckham Jr.'s decisively best game against the Browns. And since he's not wearing a Giants uniform, it was very fun for me to watch the Cowboys get spanked by Odell Beckham Jr. Um, he had 5 receptions for 81 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of those touchdowns was a pass from Jarvis Landry, fellow receiver Jarvis Landry. And that was their first touchdown in the game. And then their last touchdown in the game was a great uh, catch behind the line of scrimmage that he then had to backpedal around some defenders and then made a nice 40-yard run into the end zone to seal the game when it looked like we all thought, or at least I did, Dallas is going to fucking do it again.
Yep, that's the end of that.
They had a touchdown with 3 minutes and 42 seconds left, and they were down 41-38. And the Browns got the ball back. Dallas scored 3 back-to-back touchdowns in the fourth quarter. All right, they were down 41-14 going into the fourth quarter. Can you believe that? 41-14.
Yeah.
And then they scored
incredible attempt to do what they did in previous weeks.
12:24 left. Tony Pollard 3-yard run with a 2-point conversion, successful. 6:31 left. Dalton Schultz 26-yard pass from Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott run for another successful 2-point conversion. All right, 3:42 left. CeeDee Lamb 5-yard pass from Dak Prescott. Amari Cooper run for 2-point conversion. They scored 24 unanswered points. They had 3 touchdowns with 3 2-point conversions. And if OBJ doesn't get that run to ice the game, and they give the ball back, they're not getting stopped. They're winning the game. I mean, that was just simply insane. I thought they were going to do it again, what they did against Atlanta.
The important thing is they didn't.
They didn't. And I'm very happy about it. That defense, I mean, if you look at Dallas, and I got to look at this, they have the second most. I'm going to confirm this so I don't look like an idiot. Points for, here we go. They have not the second most anymore. They have the third most points for with 126. They have the 32nd most. They are ranked 32nd because they have the most points scored against them with 146. They have more points scored against them than the Falcons, than the Jets, than the Lions, and the Texans. Those are the 4 right above them. And you group Dallas in with that group? And I love it. Because the Eagles, we'll get to this part, the Eagles are division leaders at 1-2-1 with a team with Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott and Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. And they suck.
All about that tie.
The tie made the difference. I wasn't a believer in Peterson's call for the tie, but I believe it now. It was right because we're in the lead.
For now.
For now. Realistically, I don't believe we're going to hold on to it. But it is fun, actually, to see the Browns look pretty good. For all of that, Dak Prescott had 41 for 58 and, holy shit, 502 passing yards. 4 touchdowns, not to mention 3 2-point conversions. And only 1 interception. I mean, this is just, for yards, he's certainly first place with 1,690. This dude is a good quarterback. I cannot deny it any longer. And it baffles me how they've lost 3 out of 4, almost lost the 4th. I mean, this dude is crazy, and his team just sucks around him. Baker Mayfield, on the other hand, 19 for 30, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I don't have much else to say, really. I mean, 24 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. Well, I won't say unanswered. Back-to-back, because the Browns did answer. With a 2-point conversion and a touchdown. But, I mean, Cowboys scored no points in the second or third quarter. So, I enjoyed the game. That's what I'm saying.
I know some criticism was going to Mike McCarthy for not utilizing Zeke a lot in the run game. But at the same time, they were playing from behind a lot of the game.
They were playing from behind a lot of the game. I mean, you get to the third, fourth quarter, they gotta start passing. They just kept going up. Browns just kept going up, and you have to start passing to get that. Zeke 12 carries, 54 yards. I mean, he wasn't really doing he didn't have a whole lot to do this game.
He had a lot in the reception game.
I'm trying to find that.
He had 8 catches for 71 yards.
Oh yeah, so he had more catches than he did rushes.
No.
Or sorry, I meant in yardage. I meant in yardage.
Yes, and
That's what I meant. He had more receiving yards than rushing yards. So this all makes for one very happy Reggie. Laurie Cooper, 12 receptions, 134 yards and touchdown. All right, let's move on to the Saints-Lions game, which was scoregami. Saints won 35-29 in what is the first score ever of 35-29. This is our second scoregami in like 3 weeks. It's crazy. I love it. Um, just shows how crazy this year is already. I gotta say, when I was watching that game, it looked like the Lions were gonna fucking beat the Saints.
I mean, they came out hot, or Breeze came out cold. The early interception, and then
Yeah, that gave
New Orleans
Stafford
really
a
showed
really
why they're
short
a better
field.
team.
Yeah, so they had the first thought that caught my mind was Swift caught the touchdown pass, and I said didn't drop that one. Um, and then they had the interception. Stafford had a short field, made short work with Kenny Galladay. They went up 14-0, and then the Saints scored a touchdown, a touchdown, a touchdown, a touchdown, and a touchdown before the Lions even sniffed the end zone again. And that was pretty much all she wrote. And I'm glad they got the 2 point conversion because with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left in the fourth quarter, Adrian Peterson, the old man, got a 5-yard run, and they had a 2 point conversion, and that's what makes this game scoregami. And I love that. If they hadn't gone for two, who knows? Saints were only 3 point favorites going into this game.
Hey, they covered. They covered.
They did. You know, Drew Brees was finally throwing deep a little bit.
Well,
I don't want to say deep for him this season.
yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Deep for him this season. He had 19 for 25 with 246 yards. His longest was 29, so he was throwing it a little bit.
Well, that's not throwing 29.
Well, yeah, that's true. It's yards. That's a catch. They moved down the field. He had one int in the beginning of the game, cost the int. Stafford, 17 for 31, 206 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an int. Alvin Kamara looked pretty good. He always does. 19 carries for 83 yards and a touchdown. I mean, this really just seemed like a game that I thought was going to surprise me, and then it really didn't. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, they were up 14-0, correct? That was the score.
Yes.
And then for them to score 28 unanswered, or did they score the first?
No. They scored 35.
They scored the first touchdown of the second half as well. They scored 35 unanswered. Every single point unanswered.
It was basically the Lions scored 14, and then the Saints just 35. Did way better than that.
And it was 5 straight drives as well.
And I have a message from Ejeko here. Ejeko says, "Suck my dick, Frost. Who that?" So Frost is not here, but Frost, you can suck his dick.
I think his response would be something along the lines of, "You know what? You know what?" And that's about it. It would just be, "You know what?" A couple of times.
He would try to sing a sling, but he would probably say something like, "At least my quarterback can throw over 30 yards."
That's true.
Wow, man, neither of these guys are here, and we're just making them have so many great lines. Alright, talk about games that were closer than they should have been. Seahawks at the Dolphins. What the hell was this game? Seahawks won. Yeah. Seahawks were favored by 4.5, which I thought was a ridiculous line. And I was right by the final score, but I was wrong by the way that game was played. Seahawks did win 31-23. Russell Wilson, 24 for 34, 360 yards, 2 touchdowns and in. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 29 for 45, 315 yards, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. Can you tell me why this game was so close until the end? Here's what we're looking at, right? End of the third quarter, Seattle was only up 17-12, with another quarter to go. In fact, I'll go even further, because the next score was a Miami field goal. So with 8:31 left in the game, Seattle was only up 17-15. Did I miss something? Does Miami have a weirdly good defense? Because the Bills had their lowest scoring game against the Dolphins. Or no, sorry, I'm thinking of the Patriots, and that's not even true. But we'll get to that. And I am thinking of the Bills because they didn't score a lot. What is going on with Miami?
Well, I couldn't quite tell you that. I don't watch a lot of Miami games very closely.
Me
I
neither.
do know I'm seeing some complaints on various Reddit threads. The Seahawks like to play down to their opponent's skill level a lot. They're just one of those teams.
It's it's strange when you put it in such a position. I mean, anyone who picked this game was probably sweating a little bit for most of that. Of course, they did then score two back-to-back touchdowns. David Moore pass for 5:24 left. 1 minute and 24 seconds later, Chris Carson got a run. Um, Fitzmagic pulled him off with a touchdown and a two-point conversion towards the end, but that was really it. Um, but there was a point where, on the win percentage probability, Miami did have a 56.2% chance to win. They were projected to win when they got a field goal and were down 17 to 15. This
Which
game is so
blows my
bizarre.
mind.
It blew my mind how the line was so low, but apparently the people who decide how you bet on sports are actually know sports, because this was crazy. And until the end of the game, this looked like the Dolphins might sneak one out, but they did not. DK Metcalf 4 receptions, 106 yards. Chris Carson 16 carries, 80 yards and two touchdowns. Fitzmagic led the rushing, 6 carries for 47 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Parker had 10 receptions, 110 yards. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. It was quite a game.
I mean, Seattle's just hot. I
They
don't. I
are.
don't.
I
Let's see. What's their upcoming schedule? Minnesota, Arizona, San Francisco, Buffalo. That's not the easiest schedule going forward.
Yeah, it's gonna depend when San Francisco get back because we'll get to that. I do think that team's gonna be the number one in the NFC. I I thought they were a little overrated, but now seeing them play, they do have the number one scoring offense in the league. They're just crazy good. Uh,
I think I see Green Bay.
could be, could be. We'll see. All right, well, let's talk about the Chargers at the Buccaneers. Man, this was a good game, wasn't it? Bucks won 38-31, but it did not feel like a decisive Buccaneers victory. They were favored by 7.5, and the over/under. Wow, the over/under was 42. They pegged that wrong. Um, but it honestly felt like it was looking like the Chargers might pull one out over old man Brady. Scoreless fourth quarter for the Chargers doesn't help them, but uh, I, I'm forgetting the name. I made all these weird noises trying to buy myself time. Justin Herbert looked very good this game.
He did.
He looked fantastic this game, actually, I'm going to say. This was definitely his best game of the season. I think it's better than his game against the Chiefs, and that obviously comes from him now having played a game or two. Um, Brady threw a pick six. It is his second of the past four games. Fitting that his last pass to the Patriots was a pick six, and now this is too. Um, Now he's had two already. So going into the fourth quarter, the Chargers were up 31-28. This was a very back and forth game, you know. Um, Bucks scored, Chargers scored, Chargers scored, Chargers scored, Chargers field goal. All right, now it doesn't seem as back and forth.
It was a little less back and forth.
I'll say this: going into halftime, at one point the Chargers were up 24-7. Going into halftime, the Chargers were up 24-14. Um, but the Buccaneers came back. They scored a touchdown. They scored a touchdown, and that put them in the lead. The Chargers scored a touchdown, but like I said, scoreless fourth quarter for the Chargers. For the Chargers. Meanwhile, the Bucks got a touchdown and a field goal. So, but they put up a great fight against what I'm now seeing to be a very good Brady Buccaneers team. Um, Chargers, I don't think their record shows how good of a team they are, because they have so far gone toe to toe with the Chiefs and the Buccaneers, and I think there's a lot to say for that.
And then at the same time, losing to the Panthers. So,
Yeah, well, we'll go into that a little later, but I think the Panthers have really outperformed all of my expectations. That's for sure. They did beat. I still can't believe their one win was the Bengals with the missed field goal
Yeah.
way back in week one. Again, it feels like a year ago. Herbert, for all my praise, 20 for 25, 290 yards and three touchdowns on in. Tom Brady had 30 for 46, 369 yards, five touchdowns, one in, five touchdowns, five different receivers. There's a fun
Yeah.
fact for you.
That's Brady for you.
That's Santa Tom. Um, Justin Herbert led the rushing, five carries, 14 yards. Mike Evans had a good day, seven receptions for 122 yards and a touchdown. A little banged up, but he had a good day for his stats. Only seven receptions for 122 yards. I mean, that's a good receiver.
Yeah.
Um, it was a good game. I very much enjoyed this game. Of all the 1 o'clock games, except for the Browns Cowboys game, because obviously, I enjoyed that game. Let's take a look at Ravens at the Washington football team. Ravens were favored by 14, and I believe they covered. Yes, no, no, they only won by 13.
Uh, yeah. No, I
No,
mean
they
there's a
won.
14-point difference, so they,
Oh, you're right. They did. They won by
of course.
14. So the Ravens won 31 to 17, and it shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have even been that close. I'll explain why in a second. Lamar Jackson, 14 for 21, 193 yards, two touchdowns, one in. Haskins, 32 for 45, 314 yards, no touchdowns, no ins. Lamar Jackson led the rushing with 7 carries, 53 yards, and one touchdown. He had a pretty good run right there in the middle that reminded us of good old he broke his ankles, Lamar Jackson. That call was still great. I still love it. Um, Terry McLaurin on the Washington side had 10 receptions for 118 yards. Pretty good.
Scary Terry.
Yeah. So here's why I say it shouldn't have been that close is because at the end they pulled Lamar Jackson. They put in RG3, which I thought was very funny because they put in RG3 to play against Washington. And he
Yeah.
immediately threw a pick, like right away. And then eventually, I said Dwayne Haskins didn't have any touchdowns. He did have a rushing touchdown, which they only were in field position to do because of the pick. So there you go, RG3. There's your return to Washington. It was unfortunate for him, but I'm sure anyone who bet the spread will be happy to know that they did win by 14. The over under was also 45, so they actually went over a little bit on that. That's cool to know. Um, there was no point where the favorability percentage fell below 75, 73%. I mean, this was definitely a game where the Ravens felt dominant. They're up 21-10 going in the half, and they just kept growing that lead. So, Ravens, a little bounce back from last week. Pretty good opponent to get a bounce back from. Any thoughts?
I mean they they have a couple more of those games coming up. To be fair, but I mean the Ravens are a good team. Sure, another good team can shut them down, but they prove they're still up there.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm so surprised with how well the Browns have been in the past few games. That the Browns only had 6 points in that first game, and the Browns right now have the most points out of anyone in the AFC. Um, Despite getting only 6 points in their first game of the season, so
Yeah,
that's crazy. They do. The Ravens have Bengals next, Eagles next. Steelers will be a tough one. Colts will be a tough one. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, we're looking way ahead, but Steelers, Colts, Pats, Titans, Steelers. There's five back-to-back teams that I feel like are going to be tough. We'll get to that. So, Cardinals at the Panthers. What the hell happened, Arizona? Panthers won at home 31 to 21. Cardinals were favored by 3. They lost. That favorability, of course. Basically, what happened is the Panthers scored 14 unanswered points in the first quarter, and then they were pretty much even the rest of the way.
yeah.
7-7, 7-7, 7-3 in the following quarters, and that's all it really was. It was a disappointing game for the Cardinals. Kyler Murray, 24 for 31, only 133 yards and 3 touchdowns. Teddy Bridgewater looked pretty good with 26 for 37 and 276 yards, 2 touchdowns and an in. And that's it. That's really it. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot, going for Arizona this game. Panthers pulled off a win. They are making me realize that I definitely underestimated them and maybe overestimated the Cardinals a little bit, thanks to their first 2 weeks. What are you thinking about that?
I don't have much faith in the Panthers, to be fair. Not without Christian McCaffrey.
I agree, and I can't believe they did this without Christian McCaffrey.
Exactly. But it's kind of scary for the Cardinals. Losing to the Lions and now the Panthers. They have the Jets coming up. I mean, I want to assume they can beat the Jets.
If the
But at the same
Cardinals,
time, what
if
is
the
going on?
if the Cardinals lose to the Jets,
There's no way that happens.
like I don't even have a
Joe
comparison.
Flacco is playing. There's no way that happens.
I don't really have a comparison. I mean, what game last year was so abysmally ridiculous? Um, I guess the Falcons beating the 49ers in San Francisco? Is that the comparison here? I mean, the
I
Cardinals.
guess.
I can't think of anything. If the Cardinals manage to lose to the Jets next week, in in New York, granted, but still, I don't even think there was any game last year which compares to how ridiculous that would be. So get it together, Kyler Murray, Arizona Cardinals. Figure shit out. Kenny and Drake's got to be a little better. Figure that
Yeah.
shit out. Kyler Murray
I
did
mean,
also lead the rushing with 6 carries for 78 yards.
I think I'm gonna go back on some of my thoughts in the beginning of the season, saying the West deserves 4 teams in the NFC.
Yeah, Arizona and San Francisco have been a
San
little.
Francisco, understandably.
San Francisco has a reason. Arizona doesn't. They should be as good as we expected them to be, especially when you're facing a Panthers team without Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Vikings at the Texans. Oh yeah, that's some big news. I probably should remember that in the beginning.
Oh yeah, that's
Bill O'Brien has been fired. I was trying to think
Release
of major
his
moves. There you go. He was one of the top 5 hot seat coaches in the league for sure. Adam Gase up there. Um, but seeing Bill O'Brien go, this isn't necessarily just because he got off to an 0-4 start. Several teams have done that, and the Houston Texans have, by a long shot, have had the hardest first 4 weeks of any team in the NFL right now. Because they had the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Steelers, and then the Vikings. But there's more to it. We're now finding out, by the way, that J.J. Watt and the defensive coordinator, who I cannot remember the name, had an argument with Mr. Bill O'Brien recently. And the DeAndre Hopkins trade does not help.
this I did not hear about. Tell me more.
Okay, well, I'll have to pull up the article, but basically, so I looked on Twitter, JJ Watt's trending today. I'm like, why is JJ Watt? So JJ Watt, it is now coming out. I don't remember if it was him who said this. JJ Watt and Bill O'Brien had a heated exchange on the practice field the week of the Steelers game, in which JJ called Bill O'Brien out for his coaching ability. It began. Now, this is a little bit of grandioseness, but the guy says it began a player revolt that ended up getting Bill O'Brien fired. Um, this comes from Aaron Wilson, Bleacher Report, and the defensive coordinator's name is Anthony Weaver. So he and J.J. Watt got into an argument with Bill O'Brien, and that seems like it started the downfall. But realistically, he should have definitely gone down. I mean, I'm now being reminded, by the way, that he traded off Jadeveon Clowney. Um, and obviously DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, it is baffling how they let this man, after what happened in the Chiefs game in the divisional, become the general manager and fuck their team up so badly. I mean, I'm getting Chip Kelly flashbacks. I mean, seriously, that's what happened. Where did Chip Kelly go?
Yeah.
He traded Shady. The only good thing he did was draft Ertz. He fucked the team up. Jason Peters was getting ready to retire. Now I wish he would, but back then I didn't. You know, so there was there was a lot. Um, this kind of reminds me of that, and I'm glad they got rid of him instead of waiting for the end of the year, because it was clear he's not a good coach, and he's clearly a horrible GM. So no love lost by anyone. Doing a quick recap, Kirk Cousins was 16 for 22, 260 yards and a touchdown. They did win 31 to 23. Houston was favored, however, being the home team by 3.5. Desean Watson had 20 for 33 with an even 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook had quite the game, 27 carries with 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. Thielen also had a good game, 8 receptions, 114 yards and a touchdown. Fuller, I think a little better of a game here, 6 receptions for 108 yards and a touchdown. And it wasn't basically, I don't think the Texans were ever in the lead. No, the Texans were never in the lead in this game. It was a Minnesota game from the beginning.
And they drew close in the third quarter.
They did. They did. So the Vikings were up 17-6 going into the third quarter. Texans got a touchdown and a field goal that made them down 17-16. But then we had back-to-back over the span of about 6, maybe 7 game minutes. 2 back-to-back touchdowns by the Vikings that really kind of iced it. Yeah, Vikings won. I mean, Vikings finally got a win. Maybe take some pressure off Zimmer. But Houston, this is gonna be probably not a playoff team now.
No way.
I can't. Their new head coach is Romeo something, or their interim head coach is Romeo something. I don't know his name. He's an assistant coach.
Romeo Cornell.
Yes. So we will see if they can win some games.
Their schedule is not easy.
Yeah, they got a first place schedule. I bet they're kind of regretting that now. They do got the Jags next week. Then the Titans, if that happens. Oh man, Packers, Jags again. Browns, I mean, they got a lot. They got a lot. Of tough teams. I mean, it's gonna be a tough division for them, that's for sure. With the Titans and the Colts looking as hot as they are, COVID notwithstanding, we will see.
Yeah, we're looking at maybe a 5-win team here.
If that, I mean, I feel like they can beat the Jags, maybe the Lions,
probably the Bears.
I didn't want to say it. All right, Giants at the Rams. Man, I didn't realize how small this game was. 17-9. I hate this number combination. Both the Eagles-Seattle games last year were 17-9. Both of them, the playoff game and the regular season game. So I hate this number combination every time I fucking see it. Rams at home won 17-9. They were favored by 13.5. So they did not win by as much as they were favored by. The over-under was 49, and man, was that high. 26 combined points. I mean, this is a ridiculous game right here. But this does go to show how good the Rams defense is. Jared Goff, 25 for 32 and 200 yards and touchdown. Daniel Jones, 23 for 36, 190 yards, and an int. And that's all the really noticeable things I got. This was a game of field goals. The Rams scored a touchdown in the beginning of the game and the end of the game. And in the meantime, the Giants had 3 field goals and the Rams had 1. So, I mean, this was not a game I went into expecting the Giants to win. I did expect the Rams to win by more than they did. But hey.
Give it up for the New York defense there. I mean,
yeah, I mean, holding
the Rams are not a bad offense.
You got Jared Goff. They held Cooper Kupp to 5 receptions and 69 yards. Nice. They did better than expected, that's for sure. If I'm a Giants fan at this point, if I'm Connor, I see this game as a moral victory for the team, showing some capacity here. Because at this point, you know the team's not doing well. This reminds me of when the Redskins, I can call them Redskins because they were Redskins last year, only lost 9-0 to the 49ers. I will always remember that one. That was the Mud Bowl. That kind of reminds me of that. Now we have your game. Indianapolis Colts at the Chicago Bears. Colts were favored by 3. They did win 19-11. This was Foles' first start as a Bear. BBR, what'd you think about Foles' first start as a Bear?
It's tough. Indianapolis, I mean, they have top 5, maybe even top 3 defense.
They have the least points against in the league right now. So they are number 1 in that category.
Yeah, but who have they played? They've played some real bad teams. So
well, they've played Shit, who did they play? They played the Jaguars and lost. Let's not forget that one.
Yeah,
Um, they played the Vikings. They held the Vikings to 11. They held the Jets to 7. They held the Bears to 11. So far, the Jaguars game was the only game where they gave up more than 11 points, and that is
it
fair.
I mean, when you take a good defense and match them up to the horseshit that is the Chicago Bears offense, this is what you get.
Yeah, I mean, you say it. I mean, it was only going to carry on for so long. The Foles
I
magic
felt so confident about this game too.
he used all his magic to get you back against the Falcons. 26
Was
for
it was it
42.
his magic or the Falcons?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of I guess it could be seen as a combination. Um, yeah, I mean, he didn't look. The game didn't look great. They did have a. The Bears' only touchdown was the end of the game where they did get a successful 2 point conversion, but there was only a minute 35 left, and they did not. Did they try for the onside kick?
They did, and it was ugly. I don't think it went 10 yards.
I think you're right. So it didn't. It was certainly a game of field goals. The Colts had a touchdown in the beginning of the game, and then the rest of their points came from 4 field goals. So there you go. My guy, my one of my fantasy players, Mo Alley Cox, a good tight end who I like. So Colts looking good. Philip Rivers, 16 of 29, 190 yards, 1 touchdown. Just that 1 touchdown in the beginning of the game. Bears defense held pretty well.
Yeah, I mean that was one point I hit hard on last week. Is I think the Bears match up really well to Philip Rivers.
It
And
certainly
16
seems
for
that way.
29. I mean that's nearing 50% completion percentage, and they held him to like 100 rushing yards. It was a good defensive performance. That's the
Yeah,
positive.
they definitely came out strong.
And anytime you hold an opponent under 20 points, that's an absolute victory. But to put up 11, that hurts.
I agree, and really that 8 of that 11 just coming right at the end of the game.
Yeah, garbage time. Yep.
That is that was
You want to
rough.
hear a really scary stat, which you already read earlier, but I'm just saying here for the podcast sake.
Sure.
Uh, the Chicago Bears have not scored a third quarter point this
Right.
year.
Not one. Which
Not
is
a
why they needed those.
single one.
Which
Not
is
a
why they
field
needed
goal.
those
Nothing.
fourth quarter comebacks against the Lions and the Falcons.
Yeah, they have. I want to say they have more points in the fourth quarter than all the other quarters combined,
Probably.
or it's very close to it, something like that. I know it's between 40 and 50, so let's look for their points for real quick.
This team, and you know what? I heard someone say this is the softest 3-1 team, and I think they're right.
Oh yeah, I don't think anyone was disagreeing with that.
They did get off to a good start, but I mean, we'll see. I mean, this is so far it's been a good defense on the Colts. We'll see what the Bears can do if they can do anything. We'll of course talk about the matchup that's coming this Thursday,
Oh yeah,
tomorrow.
we'll
But
get to that.
all right, so we got a couple more games, 4 more games. Bills at the Raiders. I like this
Oh,
one.
I'm excited. I'm excited. You're finally seeing what I've been saying. Trust the Bills.
I know. All right, so here's the thing. Bills won 30-23. They were favored by 3.5. Um, oh man, the over under was 53. They got that right on the
Oh,
button. um, so they were playing in Las Vegas, and the Bills remain undefeated. So here's my thing. I've always liked the Bills. I really like Josh Allen. I think he's a way better. He was a way better quarterback last year than people gave him credit for. I think he's a better quarterback now than people gave him credit for. He's my fantasy quarterback. He gets me a lot of points. My concern was with the Dolphins game and the luck to win the Rams game. Mainly with the Dolphins game. That was my concern because a strong point of this Bills team should be that last year their defense only had one game where they gave up over 30 points. It was to the Eagles. That's how I remember that stat.
yeah.
And that's what kind of concerned me a little bit. Going into the first 4 weeks, we take a look. Bills won 27-17 against the Jets, expected. Bills won 31-28 against the Dolphins. That had me worried. Bills won 35-32 against the Rams. Depending on who you talk to, it was horseshit. I didn't think so, but it could have been. And now Bills win 30-23 against the Raiders. Only one game has been more than a score win, and that was the Jets, and that's expected. Um, Now I do still like the Bills. I'm not trying to harp on the Bills. I'm now understanding I was being too cautious. I was my attempt of being too cautious when it turned out that I was wrong about the Cardinals being one of the most explosive offenses in the league. Josh Allen, 24 for 34, 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. Uh, Derek Carr, 32 for 44, 311 yards, 2 touchdowns. Let me tell you something. Nelson Aguilar caught another fucking touchdown pass. And if I hear one more, it's coming from Eagles fans and Eagles haters. If I hear one more person talk about Nelson fucking Aguilar, we all know that if the Eagles threw him the ball, he would drop it. We all know that. All right?
I mean, he's got 4 receptions on 4 targets. It seems like he's catching everything.
Yeah. 4 receptions, 4 targets, 4 games.
Yeah.
People are suddenly pretending he's like the saving grace. He had one good season. One. Anyway, that's my Aguilar rant. I think the Bills seemed pretty in control of this game. I went to high school with a dude named Daniel Carlson, not the Raiders kicker, so I always get confused when I see that name or hear that name. They did bring it to within a point at one point, but then the Bills scored back-to-back touchdowns. A Josh Allen run and a Devin Singletary run. And then, of course, touchdown at the end of the game, garbage time, Nelson Aguilar. That's another thing. It was garbage time when he caught this fucking touchdown pass.
Yep.
1 minute 30 left in the game. He caught a 7-yard pass. Overall, Bills looking great. Raiders looking about as...
They're respectable. I'm not
They're an
down
okay
on the
team.
Raiders. Their
They're an
losses are
average
coming
team.
to Buffalo and New England. Like that's quality.
And they did beat the Saints.
Yeah.
For whatever that's worth.
They got a test coming up though.
What's their test coming up?
They have the potentially no Mahomes Chiefs,
Yeah.
depending on how the
Let me tell you,
disease transfers.
we'll talk about this. The Chiefs are favored by 13. How much?
13.
How much
bro.
does that line change if Mahomes gets COVID?
I would say at least 11.
I will agree. Yes, it's time! Eagles at the 49ers! Everyone called me crazy. I think Frost picked the Eagles, too. Eagles win 25-20. Did you know, of course you know, you're the one running confidence, I was the only one to pick the Eagles?
I did know that, yeah.
And I only put 2. And you know what? Everyone in the pregame on the show, all 6 of them, picked the 49ers.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's be honest. The people that really mattered, they didn't bet very high on San Francisco anyway. So they didn't have complete
Here's my thing as
faith.
well. I picked the Eagles. I declared the Eagles.
True.
My dad and I were talking in this game. My dad, we were not talking during the game. My dad and my mom were away. They were visiting my grandmother. And he was taping the game back here where I was watching it because he would be back at like 6:30 in the morning, so he didn't watch it and he was going to come home and see it.
Yeah, he didn't want to get spoiled.
Exactly. Man, of all the games, I watched the first 3 games with him this year. I am so mad we weren't watching this together. Because let me tell you, I was watching it with my stoned out brother who went to sleep at halftime, and I was screaming at the TV. I got up and rolled my ankle after the pick 6. I straight up did.
I heard about that. I remember you saying that.
So I loved this game. Let me explain why. 49ers were favored by 8.5, by the way. This game, wow, and the over-under was 46, and that's 45 combined points. I love it when it's that close.
I mean, these people do their jobs right if they're getting them this close.
Well, they also got the 49ers to be minus 8.5, but, you know. So did I. Eagles got the first touchdown, and they went for 2. I'll talk about that in a second. Carson Wentz was 18 for 28 with 193 yards, a touchdown and in. Nick Mullins was 18 for 26, 200 yards, and a touchdown and 2 ins. Let me tell you, the guy who came in after...
Oh, God, he looked hot.
He
came in hot.
C.J. Beathard, 14 for 19, 138 yards. No touchdowns, no inside rushing touchdown. But no interceptions. Let me tell you, Beathard got sacked one time on 9 drop. I said drawbacks, dropbacks. Um, Compared to my man Carson Wentz, none of you were prepared to hear that Carson Wentz could be good. He got sacked 3 times, didn't fumble the ball this time. Just that one kind of ugly interception very early in the game. But they sure made up for it. So we had an 8-yard uh, touchdown. Oh man. Oh no, sorry. 8 points. What am I doing? I'm losing my mind. 11. Carson Wentz had an 11-yard run where he kind of had a little Lamar-ish fake out there. Made a guy miss. They got a 2-point conversion. Then Ayuk had, wow, what a great run. Austin Epps, who I fucking hate. Two people on the Eagles I hate. Austin Epps, Nate Gary. Austin Epps goes for a low shoulder tackle, and Ayuk just hurdles him and gets him in the end zone. I mean, it was beautiful. I have to admit it. That's going to be on highlights everywhere.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
it was a beautiful leaping play. And I'll never forget that we picked Rager over Ayuk and Jefferson. So it still has yet to be proven. But right there, it certainly looked like Ayuk was giving us our what for. Um, and San Francisco did take the lead with George Kittle. George Kittle had a hell of a game.
Yeah,
15
he did.
receptions for 183 yards and a touchdown. This coming from Mullins and Beathard, not Jimmy G. He got me 40 fantasy points. So there we go. Going into halftime, we were down 14 to 11. The Eagles had a pretty good long drive in which Travis Fulgham, who's that? We don't even know. None of the Eagles fans even knew who Travis Fulgham was. Guy laid off the practice squad. 42-yard pass. There were 3 things that were impressive about that. I don't know what was more impressive: the throw, the catch because he lost it in the air and didn't see it till like a second before it hit him, or the fact that he managed to stay in bounds after getting hit. I mean, that was just an impressive overall. And then, of course, that was with 5:50 left, 8 seconds, 8 game seconds later. Alex Singleton, the only good linebacker on this team right now, No, he didn't. 30-yard pick six on Mullins. Let me
Yep.
tell you why I rolled my ankle. Because for one full second, I did not comprehend what was happening. I am not kidding you when I tell you my thought for a whole second was, why is the receiver running the wrong way? That was
That was a bad interception.
It was genuinely my thought. For one second, I thought I was watching the Eagles throw a fucking pass, and I was confused why he was running. That was a terrible pass. I don't even see how that could have been like a miscommunication and where the receiver was supposed to be. It was absolutely horrible. Singleton, if that was Nate Gary, it would have bounced off his hands. Singleton didn't even look like he was ready for it. He was just walking there. He looked like a safety, just like getting ready to guard a pass or guard a rush. You just standing there in midfield, well, mid compared to the thrower and the receiver. And, yeah. Then, we all know how Beathard led a very good march down the field, got a touchdown. Now, here's why I say the 2-point conversion mattered. Because it forced them to go for 2, and they missed, which
Yep.
meant they couldn't settle for a field goal. They had to score a touchdown, and they did not. At the very end of the game, they did not. So overall, I was very happy with this. Eagles are in the division lead, 1-2-1. Um, that's go Birds. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much to say. It's just well done, I suppose.
It was a very much undeserved victory. I heard one caller on a Philly sports network say um, that if Jimmy G plays this game, we don't win. I think they're overrating Jimmy G a little bit, but they are probably right because that means Mullins wouldn't be playing like dog shit the whole game.
Yeah. But
So
at the same time, it didn't happen and they won, and that's all that matters.
that is it's what matters. I think it does come down to it. I don't want to compare this to games, but the fact that we were in the lead and it looked like the better team was going to make a drive back, and then we got a pick six that put us way more in the lead and that won the game. Doesn't that specific scenario just remind you just a very tiny, tiny bit of the Saints Colts Super Bowl? Like just a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was me. A better connection, I think. A better connection I made was our Week 4 win against the Packers last year, where we were an away team against a team we're very much expected to go to lose. Timely pick comes down to the end of the game, so that's the way I felt. All right, we got 2 games Monday night. Patriots at the Chiefs. Now, these are Cam Newton-less Patriots. The Chiefs were favored by 11 points. They sure did get it. They won 26-10. This was bad. I don't know about you. This was a bad game.
Yeah.
Bad officiating. Can you know what I'm talking about with bad officiating, right? Like the fumble that wasn't a fumble and then the Chiefs punted.
Yeah, the fumble was a super weird situation, for sure.
It was a weird because Belichick couldn't even known to challenge it because when the ref marked down, Belichick was yelling at the ref because he thought they were marking the Patriot who recovered the ball down.
Yeah.
But they were marking the receiver down. He didn't see it. You knew Andy Reid knew it because he rushed the punter out as fast as humanly possible.
The smart thing to do, yeah.
Because he knew he had to capitalize, and I think it was Romo calling the game, right? I want to say it was Romo.
I think so, yeah.
And
yes, I was.
Because Romo even pointed out how confusing and strange it was. He was like, "Wait, they punted?" Like he was a little behind for a second. Like he was like, "All right, Patriots gonna get him." Wait, they punted? That being said, Brian Hoyer sucked. 15 for 24, 130 yards and an interception. Who did they throw in after?
Jared Stidham.
Stidham, right? Stidham season.
And then threw 2 interceptions. 5 for 13.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't too good either. For a game...
okay, one of them was not his fault.
Okay, I didn't see it. So I turned off the game at that point. So I honestly cannot say, but if you say it wasn't, then I'll agree with you. What happened?
A ball thrown right into Julian Edelman's hands.
Oh, I did see that. You're right. I saw a clip of that, and he just kind of dropped it right into the lap of the corner.
Yeah.
So even though the Chiefs ran away with the game at the end, it was not always like that. Well, it kind of was.
It wasn't.
Going into the second half, the Chiefs were only up 6-3. I mean, that was pretty bad. Chiefs had 2 field goals in the first quarter. Got me a lot of points. First quarter, Patriots had 1 in the second quarter. They went up 13-3. Patriots came back to be 10-13. But then the Chiefs scored 2 unanswered touchdowns and went up 26-10. So, and then was off of a missed extra point from Harrison Butker, which reminds me. Did you know in fantasy that kickers don't lose points for extra point misses?
Sure about that?
I'm positive.
That seems wrong. I'll look that up.
It seems wrong, but I'm telling you, his stats did not change when it said he's missed several extra points in this week. And I'm almost positive that I'm not reading the stats wrong. Almost.
You might be correct.
Which, isn't that baffling? Because you lose points for missed field goal, but not a point extra attempt? What's going on with that? Who decided that?
I don't know, but these are standard PPR scoring rules, so...
That blows my mind. It really does.
I think it's because kickers have so much against them.
True. That's fair. Chiefs come out to a 4-0 season lead. Patriots still 2-2, losing against very good teams. Give them that. They didn't have Cam Newton this game. I think this game would be a little better if they did. Mahomes, it was 19 for 29, 236 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that's it. That's all I got. Anything else you want to say about that game before we go to the last one?
Not really.
All right, Falcons with the Packers. Another game that was expected to go kind of the way it did. Packers won 30-16. Packers were favored by 5, and they did lead the entire time. So the Falcons didn't blow a lead this time. Congratulations.
Well, you have to get the lead first, but yeah.
Yeah. Matt Ryan, 28 for 39, 285 yards. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers, 27 for 33, 327 yards and 4 touchdowns. Todd Gurley over on the Atlanta side had 2 rushing touchdowns, so hey, good for him. But I don't think at any point of this game did the Falcons feel like they were competing. I mean, the Packers just kept scoring. They won 30-16. I mean, this is a great offense. Second best offense in the league right now, points-wise.
I mean, this is exactly why I think the Packers are winning the NFC.
They're good. I don't think they're playing Seattle this year because Seattle got second place last year.
I believe that is correct. I'll double check that here. You are correct.
But man, I would love to see these two teams play. I mean, we probably will see it in the playoffs. I'll be honest.
I hope so. That'd be a great matchup.
It's been before. Well, there was a shitty one. That was a shitty one. But then there was the 19-point comeback. Um, we'll see. I say that a lot on this podcast. But not much to talk about there. Packers did really well. All right, Week 5. Here's our predictions. First off, Buccaneers at the Bears. This is the Tom Brady Nick Foles rematch where neither one is playing for the team they played for in the Super Bowl. Bucks favored by 3.5. I'm gonna go Bucks, but I don't feel. I should feel confident about it, but no Godwin. Evans banged up. I'm gonna go Bucks. But what do you think?
I'll give a conditional pick here. If the Bears score 20 points, the Bears win. If they don't, there's no way they're winning.
All right. I mean, I'll give that one to you. I guess you're right. They keep holding teams to less than 20 points. Or at least they do sometimes. Eagles, Steelers. I'm probably reading this out of the order because Eagles shows up first for me, but Steelers favored by 7. I'm picking the Steelers. I'm not picking the points. I
I think personally, I take Steelers and points. That Steelers defense is not bad.
The Steelers defense is very good. I can't bring myself to take the points on this one because Carson Wentz blew the Steelers out of the water in his rookie year. Now I know that team was not the same before someone yells at me, but they won like 34-3 or something like that. I would just like to see the Eagles split between the next 2 weeks, but I know that's not fucking happening with the Steelers and the Ravens. So I'm just gonna say I'm hoping the Eagles win, but I don't think they will. Panthers at the Falcons. Falcons favored by 2. This is a tough one because the Falcons should win this game, but the Panthers are looking a little better. I'm going to go a little bold here. I'm going to pick the Panthers.
You know, I think I'm going to do the same, and I think if that happens, Dan Quinn is fired.
I agree. If the Falcons lose this game, Dan Quinn should go.
Absolutely.
Because the Falcons, as far as they are a top 5 scoring offense. All right, you got a lot of good weapons. I like Todd Gurley. You got Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, even though I don't think they did this past time. If they lose this game, Dan Quinn should go. But I kind of like the Panthers in this game.
I mean, Atlanta's got that banged up secondary. Julio Jones is not 100%. It'll all depend on what Carolina's defense can do.
Yeah. Bills and Titans, assuming it happens, would be a great game. And you go first.
If it does happen, I'm giving the edge to the Bills purely on the fact that Tennessee has not had full in-person practices.
True. You know what? I'm gonna go to the Bills. Actually, you're right. You're absolutely right. I feel like this should be even on the lines. If we were at this point, but right now there's not even a spread consensus. Like they haven't even gone that far. I am gonna agree with you on the Bills. I didn't even think about that, but the Titans are gonna not having a lot of practice time and not having a lot of.
I mean,
players.
they've had some illicit, illegal, frowned upon out of facility practices between players.
Yeah. So that's a problem.
A lot of shit right now. Yeah.
Deserved. Raiders of the Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by 13. I take the Chiefs. I don't know about that spread.
Never take those points.
Yeah,
do
I'm
not ever take double-digit points.
I think the Raiders are good enough to not give up 13 like that.
With the potential that Mahomes potentially doesn't play.
Yeah, if Mahomes doesn't play, that line is dropping at least 8 points. I don't think there's an over-under. There is not. At the moment, that's kind of odd. I guess they're already being weird about it.
Yeah.
Unless I'm just looking early and no games have an over-under.
No,
they do. They do.
Yeah.
All right, well. Yeah, I do not take those points, but I pick the Chiefs. I assume you do the same?
Yeah. I don't think the Raiders could pull off a victory here, if assuming everything is well in Kansas City.
I agree. Uh, the Cardinals at the Jets. So this is a game the Cardinals should win. The Cardinals are favored by 7. Um, I'm gonna take them in the points because I do think they should win by 7.
I agree.
Um, but this is very much gonna be a game that shows us how good they are. If the Cardinals don't put up at least, I'm gonna say at least 21 points on this Jets defense. I'm gonna be a little concerned because the Cardinals should realistically blow this team out of the water.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the points the Jets defense has given up: 27, 31, 36, 37.
Yeah, if the Cardinals don't score more than, I'm gonna even go a little bit further and say 27.
Yeah,
Who
the 37 was from Denver, by the way. So
who who is the
you would hope
27?
an actual NFL caliber offense can score more than.
Who was the 27?
I think. Where'd it go?
Who was the lowest one? Was it the Bills?
It might have been the Bills.
I think it was 27 and
It
17.
was the Bills. Yeah.
All right, if the Cardinals don't score them more than 24 points, I'm gonna say 24 points. They don't score more than 24 points. I don't care how many points you scored against them. If they don't score more than 24 points, I'm gonna be very concerned about this team. I'm definitely taking the Cardinals in the points. Um, Rams at Washington. Hey, Rams are only favored by 7. Um, wow, first 5 weeks for the Rams, all 4 NFC East teams. Look at that.
Yeah.
Um,
They're going for the any percent speed run against the NFC East.
and let me tell you, if they beat Washington, which I, by the way, do think they should, um, 7, scrappy defensive line. Rams only scored 17 on New York. Hmm.
I like the Rams here.
I'll take the Rams. I'm just debating on the points.
Oof.
You know what? I kind of don't.
I think you take the points.
I'm gonna not. I don't
Okay.
bet anyway, so who gives a shit? But I like the over under 45 and a half. I do. I would take the under on that. I do expect this to be as low scoring as last week because the Washington absolutely has a better defense than New York, if only for the defensive line. So
Yeah.
I will, instead of the points, I will take the under in my hypothetical bet.
What is that over under?
45 and a half.
Uh, uh.
I'm taking the under because when the Rams played the Giants, they only scored, what's that, 17, 9, 26 points total between the two of them.
Yeah.
And this Washington team, with now Chase Young, is one that held the 49ers to 9-0 last year. So I do think they got a very scrappy defense, and I think they're gonna. I think I would take the under on this one, but we'll see. Definitely take the Rams. With the who did I say was starting there? That's right, I forgot to talk about that. Jets starting quarterback can be Joe Flacco, not Sam Darnold. And Washington's starting quarterback is going to be Kyle Allen instead of Dwayne Haskins, who has moved down to third string. There's got to be another issue there. And you don't have to swap first and third strings like that, like on the drop of a dime, without some other issue going on.
Hot potato.
Yeah. This is kind of interesting to me because how much of Kyle Allen being named the starter for Week 5 comes off of the fact that he literally just last season played for Ron Rivera. I mean, do you think that factors into it?
I would think so.
It's way too coincidental. Not only the fact that he came to Washington, but now he's gonna be named the starter over Dwayne Haskins, who I don't like Dwayne Haskins as a quarterback, by the way, but I would rather play him than Kyle Allen. Personally.
I think I saw something like you'll give Mitchell Trubisky 30-something games. You'll give Sam Darnold 20-something games. You gave Dwayne Haskins like 17, and you're calling him done there. I mean, give him time.
Yeah, like Dwayne Haskins has been putting up better stats than Daniel Jones, um, and is not being given a chance to keep going, which makes me believe there has to be something else going on because he got bumped down to below Alex Smith on the depth chart, and
And Alex Smith does not look ready to play. But from what I've seen, obviously a lot can change. But I think the last I saw was like a month and a half ago, and it seemed like he had a hobble.
Yeah, I mean, you're certainly not playing Alex Smith against the Rams. You don't want Aaron Donald going against him, but still, I mean,
Please no.
this concerns me with what's going down on Washington. Actually, it doesn't concern me because
Yeah, I was gonna say, does it? I mean, you're low key happy, but at the same time,
I'm fine with discourse happening in Washington. Um, but still, as a just a football fan in general, it concerns me how a first string can go to a third string and a third string to a first string, and there's nothing really said about it. That just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. There's got to be something else going on there. Bengals at the Ravens. Ravens favored by like these high points, 13. Damn. Um, I gotta take the Ravens. I don't take the points. That's about it. That's all I got.
yeah, I don't want to mess with those points. You definitely take the Ravens here. You got to look at the last time Joe Burrow faced what I would call an elite at this point, a top 10 NFL defense in the Chargers week 1, only put up 13 points.
Yeah, and now you're talking a very good
A
Baltimore
very
defense.
good. Yeah.
Definitely a top 10. And a very good offense against a very mediocre defense in Cincinnati.
So
Um,
we'll see how much Burrow has improved in 4 games of practice.
yeah, I mean, his overall stats are pretty impressive. At the moment, he has,
I mean, it's on pace for 4,000 yards.
yeah, he's got the 10th most passing yards currently in the league. So there you go, with 1,121 yards. Um, we'll see how he's doing. This will definitely be a game that I won't really give the Bengals any flack for as a team for losing,
No, no
because
way.
I expect them to. Um, who are they playing after that? Like the Bengals are playing. Oh man, they play the Ravens, then the Colts,
And then a Browns team that's looking pretty hot.
and then the Titans, Steelers, Washington. A lot of good defenses in there. Like I'm looking ahead, just seeing a quick glance at the Bengals schedule. The Giants, maybe the Dolphins, depends who their starter is. Um, and the Texans are the teams that I see them possibly getting a double there. That's what I'll say. Go 4-12 this year, you know, or sorry, 4-11-1.
True, true.
Gotta remember that one. Um, Jaguars of the Texans. Texans are favored by 6.
Wow. Okay. Wow, they
I
think very low of Jacksonville.
I do think the Texans can squeak out a win here. I do.
Yeah, I don't like the Jaguars defense well enough to stop what mediocreness has been the Texans offense.
Yeah, I mean, for all the faults of the Texans offense, you do got to look at the fact that they do have Desean Watson, and he can make plays. And who on the Jaguars is taking him down? I mean, look at the Texans. 20 points on the Chiefs, 16 points on the Ravens, 21 points on the Steelers, 23 points on the Vikings. Not a great. Actually, the lowest score against them has been 28 by the Steelers. The other three were all 30-point scores against them. So, not a great start for the Texans, but I do think they can beat the Jaguars. As much as the Jaguars surprised everyone by beating the Colts week 1, I do think that was very much a lightning in a bottle week, and they're not going to keep that up, obviously.
No. And to throw some commentary on Deshaun Watson, I'm hearing a lot of rumors how people are a little unhappy that he's becoming more and more a first read quarterback, and if that option's not open, kind of scrambles.
I mean, a big draw for him has always been mobility.
But at the same time, you don't have Hopkins to throw to.
True. You got Will Fuller as your number 1 guy, so kind of looking at it in that sense. Let's go real quick because I need to get going here. I got 6 more games. Dolphins at the Niners. Niners are favored by 9. I take the Niners, but definitely not those points. Not with the way the Niners have been playing.
And how well Miami's been playing up to certain opponents. Yeah, I do take the Niners, but Miami's going to play this close.
I agree. If they can play Seattle close, they're playing this Niners team close. Colts at the Browns. I imagine the Colts are favored by 1.5. Close spread. Um,
On the road, though,
yeah.
so it's like 4 at a
Um,
neutral site.
this is a tough one for me. It's 2-3-1 teams. Neither team that I felt good with going into the season. I did not like either team going into the season, and both teams have proved me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the better games of the week. I'm saying
I agree. This is a 4:25 game.
this and the
Um,
Monday night game are very good games.
yeah, I don't know who to pick.
I think
I'm gonna take. Oh Jesus, I don't know who to pick.
I'm going with Cleveland here. I'm still not impressed by this Indianapolis offense that can be shut down by the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cleveland. Their offense is just very impressive.
I definitely want to watch this game though.
I'm definitely gonna watch this game. Giants at the Cowboys, and rightfully so. The Cowboys are favored by 9.5. I am actually going to take the points on this one. I do think the Cowboys are that good. At least I actually think the Giants are that bad. The Giants are a bottom five team in the league right now. I think without Saquon in there, um, I do think this team's going to end up bottom in the NFC East. Don't like the Giants. I'm going to take Cowboys pretty easily at home.
Yeah, I like the Cowboys. I mean, their points against is a little scary, but I don't think the New York offense is there to really
No.
add fuel to that dumpster fire.
Maybe if Saquon was playing.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that is a maybe. Broncos at the Patriots. If it happens, obviously there's no spread. Oh, there is a spread. Patriots are favored by 8. Wow, and that's without Cam Newton. Um, I'll tell you this: in a hypothetical world, Cam Newton plays. This game is Patriots 100%.
Oh yes. I
Um,
still like the Patriots here though.
I
But
definitely hate. I
close,
hate those
closer
points.
game.
I don't know who the hell made the points be in favor of the Patriots to be 8. Where even if this game is played, they're not going to have Cam Newton or Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah.
I don't know who decided that. I am noticing now Drew Lock is only questionable, so maybe he'll be in. I don't know. Yeah, I take the Patriots. Sunday Night Football: Vikings at the Seahawks. Seahawks are favored by 7. I take the team. I don't take the points just because Seahawks play down the Dolphins, and the Vikings. The Vikings in their last 2 games have put up a good amount of points. 30 points
Uh,
and 31 points. In fact, there's only been one game of the year so far, and that was against the Colts, that they scored less than 30 points.
I take the Seahawks here.
I
I
agree.
also take those points.
All right, so that's where we differ.
Minnesota has played one good caliber offense this season in the Green Bay Packers and
True.
surrendered 43.
They did surrender a lot of points. I'm going to raise you a little bit there. I think the Titans' offense is also very hot.
Uh,
I feel like I have good reason to say this. Their first game was not great, although that's because Gostkowski missed like 3-4 field goals.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
But 33 on the Jaguars, 31 on the Vikings. I still I like Tannehill. I like Derrick Henry, obviously. I will still go by. I don't take the points on this game, but I also won't be super surprised if the Seahawks do cover. I'm taking the Seahawks. And then Monday Night Football: Chargers at the Saints. Saints. Oh man, look at this points. Saints are favored by 7.5.
No way, no.
I
Take the
don't.
Chargers and the points.
Oh, okay. Wow. Going way
I mean,
against.
7.5. The Chargers have come out strong defensively.
All right. If I'm a betting man, I do take the Chargers to cover those points because I don't think the Saints win that much. However, I do kind of feel like the Saints are going to win this game. I'll be happily surprised if the Chargers win. I can hear Jekyll yelling at us now. Um,
I think I think No, I'm gonna go the Chargers straight up.
All right. I'm taking the Saints. We're different on a couple of these here. But this is, I think, the biggest difference between us. We'll see. Am I confident in the Saints? So the Chargers can be good. I'll tell you what. If the Chargers win this game, um, I will like them better than the Raiders in the AFC West.
And then to wrap things up, we have two buys. We are officially on the official buys.
Yes. Sorry. Wow. I already fucked that up. I only have two names for Packers and the Lions.
And to close us out here, until next week, forward down the field.